It's 6 p.m. We will call to order the meeting of the Grand Forks Public School Board meeting for Monday, April 13th. First item on our agenda is the voluntary recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Item 1A is the reading of our school board meeting norms. Mr. Manley.
Thank you. Be prepared, be on time, value and respect each other, exercise thoughtful deliberation and conversation, be professional at the board table and when visiting with the general public, speak up when the norms are not being followed, and advocate on behalf of students and keep the community in mind.
Thank you. Item number 2 is the approval of the agenda. I would seek a motion for approval. There's a motion by Joel. Is there a second? Bill, second. Roll call vote.
Manley?
Yes.
Berger is absent. Hodak?
Yes.
Clevin?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Palmasino?
Yes.
Flynn?
Yes.
Lunn is absent. Anderson?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, 2 absent.
Motion carries. Item number 3 on our agenda tonight is celebrating success. We have some members of the South Middle School team with us tonight to celebrate some success, and I'll call to the microphone Mr. Neal and team and ask that you turn on the microphone, and excited to hear from you.
Evening, everybody. We brought like half the staff, so come on in. One of the things, just make sure as I go through this, take a look, strategically placed in there, every learner, every day, and that means something to us at South. I would like to introduce everybody. I'm Travis Neal. I'm the principal at South. This is my 4th year there. We have Brian Lowe, who is the associate principal. We have Carla Haven, the instructional coach. We have Christine Rocky, and she's an aspiring principal. She's going to be phenomenal. We have Sally Akern, who's the behavior interventionist. We have Stephanie Larson, who's a counselor. And then we have Jaleesa Keller, who's our social worker. And then we have Callie Patton, who is our counselor, our other counselor. The other piece in there too, once a Spartan, always a Spartan. Again, that means something to us. When you come to South, once you're part of that, you're truly always part of it. We do have some mission, vision, and beliefs. And again, I would just turn your attention to the picture, because again, that means something to us. We're going to speak a little bit to diversity and how proud we are. And take a look at that picture. Those are our quarter 2 students of honor, and it's like that every quarter. It's pretty cool to go there and see that. Just the mixture of kids that we have and what we're celebrating at South. We do have our mission, which is every learner, every day, and we have our vision and our belief. Just a little bit about South, a little background. So the original South Junior High was established in 1932. Currently, the building opened in January of 1999. Brian and I talk about 1998, 1999, when the 5th graders come to visit. When I pulled this data, we had 551. I think we have a few less students than that now. But since day one, we've had roughly 20, and we need to update, probably 27 now, new students since day one. We have about 36 withdraw, and we have about 55 ML students. We have 65 plus teachers and support staff like Carla. A lot of these people up here would be support staff itself, which really, our kids are who we're celebrating, but these guys are the ones that are doing the work behind the scenes, and they're doing a phenomenal job, as well as our teachers. But these guys up here drive a lot of it. We have about 26 paraprofessionals. We are a PBIS school, and we're proud to be that. Project Lead the Way Distinguished School still. We are certified level 1 and level 2 for high reliability schools. And we are a Title I school this year. A little bit more deep into our demographics. Again, right now we just pulled this last week. So right now we're sitting at 547. Tomorrow will be 548 students. Male to female, pretty close. We have about 10% of our students on a 504 plan, and about 17% of our students are in special education. Again, you can see up there our diversity. and it's something that we celebrate at South. We have about 37% low income, which is right at that district average. We're right there every year with, are we going to be Title I? Are we not going to be Title I? So I could put Mr. Bakke on the spot right now and ask him right now, but we won't do that. But we're about 37% low income, 1% foster and 1% homeless. Like I said a little bit earlier, we are a Title I school, and we're going to talk a little bit about that with Ms. Akerlin. Ultimately, it's providing funds, and those funds, they've decreased, and we were lucky enough to still be able to hire Sally as our behavior interventionist, which is a huge part of what we do at South. Focusing on everybody to kind of close that gap with the academics, which goes right with behavior. We always look at criteria, and then part of Title I is we need to do some parent engagement things. So one of the things Ms. Hoven is going to talk about is our Family Maker Night. So here's Ms. Hoven.
You just gave that. All right. So as Mr. Neal mentioned, part of our requirement is to have a family engagement night. So on January 15th, it was postponed because December we had a storm, but we had an out-of-the-box maker night. And we had a great time. We had supper with everyone, and we had 5 different STEM maker stations. We had Kiva planks, Strawbees, Clixos, Make Do, and then we created a Ziploc bag with math games with dice and cards to go home. I want to highlight, since I see Amelia here, that 4 out of our 5 stations were items that we purchased over the years from the Grand Forks Foundation for Education. So we are just so fortunate to be able to, we've had teachers write grants and to add extra things. And so I wanted to highlight Amelia, since she was here, that we're just so happy to have the foundation and that opportunity to write grants from that. It was fun to see everyone's creation, and we even had a set of grandparents. It's one of the picture up there with the gal in the green, and they had a blast with their granddaughter, and they told us they thanked us for having that event. So that was in January, and you can see some of the pictures of our stations that we did with our parents. All right, go ahead, Mr. Neal. All right, in addition to that, we've used title money for the past few years. I'm going to talk about the Powerful Teaching book. We actually bought that 4 years ago with title funds. And this has been instrumental. It's actually the science of learning, and we've learned about how these power tools are beneficial for our students: retrieval practice, spacing, interleaving, feedback, metacognition. And what this book has done is it's bridged that gap between brain science and the classroom, helping our educators shift from teaching a lesson to securing long-term learning using these power tools. Over half of our staff has taken this book study over the past 4 years, and we've had teachers present during our PD, our back to school. They've talked about brain dumps, 2 things, power tickets, all retrieval practice for our students. And this past fall, some of these same teachers, this spring, these same teachers presented to colleagues at our other middle schools during our February PD. So that's just a continually ongoing learning opportunity for our teachers doing a book study. And then on the right side, this year we used some funds. We to bring John Crippo and Jacob Carr. They're the EduProtocol guys from North Dakota from California in February. They actually missed the week that right before was really cold. Jacob actually made that graphic, and you can see they're like shivering on their northern tour to Grand Forks. They were at South for 2 days for high energy learning. We planned with them, and what they did is when they came in is they did classroom takeovers. And so our teachers were able to come alongside and learn with the students as they took over the classrooms. And then in the afternoon of one of our release days when they were here is they worked with our entire staff. All right, so if you're thinking, well, what are EDGE protocols? They're lesson frames, and ties in with our Marzano high-yield strategies with summarizing, non-linguistic representation, and providing feedback. And so if you were to walk in the halls at South, you might see a teacher doing a Fast and Curious, which is just a repetition, building fluency, vocabulary, math facts, which we want that immediate feedback for our students, another Marzano key strategy. And so it allows teachers to clear up misconception in minutes. You'll see Sketch and Tell. Rocky does that a lot in her classroom, where she combines that visual creation with written explanation with that non-linguistic representation, again, to help students process and retain those complex concepts more deeply. So by integrating, there's a plan in there that integrating that book study along with EDGE protocols in our school, it's effectively bridging that brain science and classroom practice to secure that long-term learning for our students. So that's some of what we've been using with our title money. I'll exit here. And they also made fun of me with my script.
Now, Anna, they did get chippers, so.
And we did buy them chippers, yes.
Next we have Sally, our behavior interventionist.
Hi, I'm Sally Ekerlin, the behavior interventionist. This is my 4th year in this position. 4 years ago, it was a brand new position to South. And when we were here 2-3 years ago, this is a slide we made with the staff of what, they thought the benefit was. So I'll give you a second just to, skim that. Because on the next slide, 4 years down the road, we have some data to support that. In 23-24, that's how many log entries. And log entries are when teachers document in PowerSchool to let admin know, a behavior issue in the classroom. We need support. We need a plan. 3 years ago, we were sitting over 1,000 log entries. Last year, at this time, we were at 659, and now this year we're at 497. So I think, 2 years ago, we had that anecdotal storytelling of, what we think it's helping. 4 years down the road, we have some strong data to say that having someone in the building that is able to connect with staff, students, family, to support not just my title's behavior, but supporting that behavior supports the academics. In the classroom, if everyone's behaving, learning becomes a whole lot easier for everybody around. So my question to the board, I'm not sure if Travis, said to ask questions, but how can GFPS guarantee these change makers? Because what was a change maker? Staffing, funding, and the systems that we're able to set up with someone overseeing that. How can we guarantee this for all schools on a consistent basis? We know that we're on the bubble, and we can, support it through our Title I's money, and a lot of Title I schools do, but also a bigger picture. How can we guarantee that at every school, in any building, that there's a system and a person and a program in place to support everyone? So, thank you.
And it's one of the things I just want to add to what Sally's just saying. Would love to sit down and chat with any one of you guys about this position and about the work that Sally does, because it is one of the things that keeps me up at night. For example, if we're not title, because again, we're right there on the border every year, and then depending on with funding with that position, what she does on a day-to-day basis with students, in turn staff, and families, the impact is very high. So thank you for everything you do, Sally.
All right. So as Mr. Neal said, I'm Brian Lowe, the Associate Principal at South. I'm in my 7th year at South. I'm also the Activities Coordinator. 19th year of education, so prior to being a principal here, I was a social studies teacher. And I've been at South, like I said, for 7 years, the longest I've ever been in one building. 4 years here, 5 years there, 4 years here kind of deal. And I have no interest in leaving South. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why. So relationships are key for us at South. And that's with kids, it's with staff members, it's with parents, it's with paras, custodial, kitchen staff, all aspects of our building. And we talk about it a lot, staff meetings or just team meetings with each other. Relationships are key. we pride ourselves on, we talk about our students having a trusted adult. And, sometimes, Mr. Neal, when we're working through situations with kids, we'll ask, who's your trusted adult? And every time they quickly have one or two teachers that they refer to. And usually teachers, sometimes it's a counselor or Miss Akerlund or, something like that. But that's a really big deal to make sure that our kids feel, welcome, feel home, feel safe at South. We pride ourselves on that. Like Mr. Neal said, we've got a diverse population of students at South, and we love that. We embrace it, we celebrate it, and really try to promote that welcoming and belonging culture on a daily basis. We do have a lot of really cool traditions, a lot of pride, like on the beginning, the first slide, once a Spartan, always a Spartan. We say that a lot, and there's a lot of people who aren't at South anymore who come back and visit or even want to come back and work because they realize how good they had it at South when they go somewhere else. Not within the district, of course, but like somewhere else in the state or the country. But it does happen quite a bit. We have a lot of people, and Carla's one of them, who returned to South after being somewhere else, some other places for a while. And there's a reason for that. It just feels like family. It feels good. Me and myself and Mr. Neal getting to work with this office staff every day, it's just a well-oiled machine. And so we also provide a lot of outside opportunities for kids. Sometimes during the day, I'll go, there's more on that in the next slide too, but we want to keep our kids active and engaged, keep them involved in activities, whether it's athletic or some kind of a academic club or something. We have lots of opportunities for kids to do those things. A little bit about our multilingual program. So we have 55 students currently, 13 in 6th grade, 14 in 7th, and 28 in 8th. And I just love that map. It's in one of our ML classrooms, and you can't see, but the flags each have a name of a student on it and where they are from and how that represents our diversity. It's really incredible to see that, we have that many kids from all over the world, and those are the languages that we speak. And so, including English, that would be 21 languages in our building. It's pretty impressive. Lots of clubs and activities, VEX Robotics, Girls Who Code, Fiber Arts, Strategic Board Game, and so on down the list, and just tons of things. And our kids are really involved. A lot of those clubs have good numbers. And then into activities or athletics, I think is the next one. So, offering all the same sports that the other middle schools offer, and we just get a ton of participants. So once a quarter, we have a rally, Spartan rally, and Ms. Egerlund does a great job planning and organizing those with a bunch of games and activities and fun things that kids love and get really excited about. And then we honor and recognize all of our athletes. And, I'll stand at the mic and say, anybody who played basketball, stand up, and we got 70 kids stand up. Volleyballs are probably our biggest number sport with 70, 80 girls that play every year. But kids are very involved, and we have a great sort of a inclusive and experiential. We want kids to just come out and play and enjoy it. And we have a lot of coaches that are at South and in the building, which I know is hard. Sometimes other areas find it hard to find coaches at all, and we have quite a few staff members that coach all of our sports throughout the year, and again, that tells you something. They want to be around the kids, they want to work with them, they want to help them, and give them a different experience. So I believe, is that my last one? Yep. Thank you.
The next piece of our slideshow is going to talk about our goals, and I'm not going to go through these, but remember we have the overarching 5-year plan in ELA, in math, and with the Native American graduation rate. We have in particular this year, and this is for GFPS right now, with ELA, math, and the Native American graduation rate. And I think this one is almost the most important thing that I appreciate that Dr. Brenner sent out, 3 guardrails. Very important to what we're doing, the work that we're doing with those 3 guardrails. Particularly here at South, one thing I did want to note is these are highly aligned from last year. And I think that's important because sometimes I think we go from year to year and we change, or we change goals, we change something. I think it's important to say, no, let's keep doing these and get better. Let's keep working on the things that we're working on. Things are improving. So very, very similar to last year. We're talking about our attendance with all of these are going to talk about our ELA and math, really high quality Tier 1 and Tier 2 instruction, the continuation of MTSS, RTI, our PD that Carla had mentioned a little bit, especially with our teachers leading that. Very impactful. And then our PLC work. We continue to work on our HRS foundation, being level 1 and level 2, our SCL work, which these three are going to talk about. And then again, one of the charges for me, and for us, I should say, is creating just an atmosphere where everybody feels welcome to come to South. We do have the Be Legendaries goal data. You guys are well aware of that. We'll go through some of the numbers here in a second with our team. But first, let's talk a little bit about our goals and attendance with Ms. Keller.
So as you can see that this year, our daily attendance rate is at about 93, which is about the state and district rate. We are a little bit above 93, and we strive every day to be even higher than that. About last year was 91%, and so we've already improved to the 93, so we're going to kind of try to work to improve every year with more positive attendance. Some of the things that we do to help with this is not only do we have monitoring school-wide attendance, but we also have teachers, myself, the social worker, attendance specialist, who's absolutely instrumental. We have our SRO and admins all doing different interventions for families to make sure that they're attending. We have different community referrals done by myself. We do weekly meetings on students and just kind of what they need. We have different panorama interventions as well as power school checks. We have collaboration with MTSS teams, and then our secretaries also track attendance daily, and if there's any concerns or patterns that they notice, they bring those to me and or teachers, and we take the next step to see if what we need to do to help remove a barrier, help the family along. And then we also are trying to get in place a middle school attendance policy.
And one thing I would say too for Ms. Keller here, going from 91 to 93% is pretty hard. That's hard to do when you're up there in the 90s. So right now, getting to over 93%, again, that shows the impact that you're having, Jaleesa, with attendance and everything that you're doing here with everybody on the team. But thank you for taking the lead on that. Next, we have some SEL mental health things we'd like to highlight. That's part of our goals.
Hi, as we look at our mental health at South, we felt like Steph, Ms. Larson and I kind of had a big shoes to fill. We think about Mr. Chase and Mrs. Thorfinson, both
They're doing a wonderful job.
both retiring, and so it felt like there were big shoes to fill. And at the beginning of the year, as we were trying to figure out our goals and what we would like for this year to be for us at South with mental health, we kind of had set this goal of looking at panorama data, and you can see up there is the midwinter February survey data results. But when we looked at some of that data, we saw that there's the red portions, that's the low, or students that report they don't have any skills within specifically the areas of self-efficacy and emotion regulation were really high. We had identified that as a goal, that we wanted to decrease the number of students reporting in that red percentage, that they didn't have any skills in self-efficacy or emotion regulation. We wanted to decrease it by 5%. And it was exciting for us to see we had reached that goal in February with our data, to see how it had gone from a much higher proportion in red all the way down to we're seeing at 4 at each level, and we're anticipating what we could see with that when it comes to the end of the year survey in May. And we really, our goal overall, if we were to think about it, we want all students to maximize success, and success is going to look different for each student at each level, and depending on what their version of success is. So taking the time to hear students out when we meet with them or go to classrooms and figure out what that looks like for that student and how can we help them to maximize that potential that they have, and seeing each student as having potential is critical in that. Some of the ways we try to deliver these resources, and specifically as we looked at those goals of self-efficacy and emotion regulation, we tried to structure classroom lessons around that. We had classroom lessons in Q2 all about grit and resiliency and self-care and coping. So those were how we looked at our classroom lessons. We've done small interventions in RTI with students that are specifically struggling in those areas. We have short-term services and counseling one-on-one, so we really try to reach all 3 tiers and looking how can we get the whole class and whole student body to see this, small groups and individually. And then we've done other sources through Sources of Strength, Second Step, and then the MAC billing new protocol with Jaleesa, our social worker. So those are just some of the ways we're trying to help those students maximize their potential. Thanks.
So she was talking about big shoes to fill, which is true. However, as a first-year counselor, she is absolutely crushing it. We are so lucky to have her. And part of that is because of the mentoring from Steph Larson, who came over to us from East Side. So here's Steph.
Yeah, I thought I was always going to bleed green, but I have found that a little Spartan pride in maroon. Yep, I can always bleed. I can still do that, you're right. But I can attest to the fact that South has created a welcoming and belonging environment, and I'm very grateful. I've survived the first year. I have felt like a newbie many times, and it's been a good experience, and that attests to this whole district. One of our greatest blessings and things I'm full of gratitude for are the regional partners that work with us on our mental health collaboration. And up there is a list of all of the ones that our district currently refers to. And I want to point out especially the Village, which is new to us. And what is such a blessing about this is that they actually will come into the school. So it takes away that transportation barrier for those students that parents can't come and get them. A student would go and miss 3 hours of school instead of missing maybe an hour of school. And so the Village has been helpful in that. And then the Together Counseling too with the Spanish-speaking counselors has been a good referral source for us too. All of them, I can speak highly about all, but I think bringing some of that to the school, sometimes I feel like we're busting the seams and finding places for some of those counselors to meet with students, but it has been a godsend. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Christine Rocky. I teach 6th grade science, but I've also stepped into the role of data steward this year, and that's why I'm here. Travis had mentioned our Be Legendary goals, which was at South, each school has their own, but at South we wanted to go from 40% in math in the fall of 2024 to 47% in the spring of 2028, and then in reading language arts to go from 49% last fall to 56% in the spring of 2028. And these numbers are just kind of driving what we hope to accomplish at South. So you can go to the next slide. Go to the next one again, sorry. So I just want to highlight that these are our Renaissance Star numbers from the fall of 2025 to the winter of 2026. And you can see on the left is our school reading scores, and we improved in nearly every category, which is sometimes data can be seen as an enemy. The accountability piece can be scary, and it can feel like we're calling teachers out, but we have a lot to celebrate at South, and the fact that our reading has improved for all students 6 percentage points from the fall to the winter is pretty impressive and something that we can celebrate. And that is a testament to, in large part, to our Wit and Wisdom curriculum, which Carla is going to talk about here in just a minute. But I can say as a science teacher that I see the benefits of the Wit and Wisdom curriculum and how my students talk to each other and listen to each other, the accountable talk piece, and just the dividends that is paying for all of our students. So that curriculum that is being taught with fidelity in our building has been a really positive shift for our students. And then you can see on the right side with math, not as much improvement as the ELA, but it's still in about half of our demographic areas we did either hold or improve, which is more to celebrate for our school and our staff. And then the following 3 slides, I'll just have you hold it here for 10 seconds. This is broken down by grade level, so this is our 6th grade, reading on the left, math on the right, from fall to winter. 7th grade, same thing, reading on the left, math on the right. And then 8th grade. And I think the funnest part of this job is, next slide, being able to celebrate students and put faces to the data. This is a student, she's a 7th grade student this year, but judging by her scores, which I've put an oval around up there, her percentile rankings, she was placed into co-taught ELA classes just because the data suggested those were the supports that she needed. And you can see in the winter of 2025, she went from 56 percentile points or percentile range to 82%, and then the subsequent scores held, indicating that it wasn't just a one-off or an outlier. It's real learning taking place, and that is really, really cool. You can skip forward 2 slides, Travis.
And by the way, that's Cora Lowe, Brian's daughter.
And I do need to mention that the photos in Panorama are when our students were itty bitty babies, and they're just so cute.
I wish you still do it. I can tell you those higher scores aren't because I'm making her read at home all the time. So it's because of what's going on at school with her teachers and her kids.
And then this is another student who he is relatively new to the district and to our country, and just a testament to his math teachers that are pouring into him and making their classrooms a safe space for him to feel vulnerable and to learn and to grow. He went from 17, 18 percentile ranking in this fall to in the winter, he jumped by 11 percentile points. And then another staff member's child, new to our school, but also new to our country in the last 2 years. So you can see way down on the bottom, in the spring of 2024, he was in the 5th percentile. And then he jumped up in about 2 months to the 18th percentile, and now flash forward to January of this year, he's all the way up to the 53rd percentile. And it's not only that he has great support and that he wants to work hard, but again, it's that rigorous curriculum of that wit and wisdom where he gets to talk to his classmates, and he gets pushed, and he gets to work really hard and have those guardrails of staff who care about him, and a difficult curriculum to drive that growth.
One thing I'll add to that, I would just challenge everyone in here too to think about, when looking at data and looking at scores, one of the things we wanted to do was to put a face behind it. And every one of our students have a story. And I think it means more then. And that's the reason why we did that. We did get permission from all 3. Just so you know, we did have permission from all of them to share all that data.
All right. So I just wanted to come back and then highlight what Rocky just talked about with our wit and wisdom. So thanks for highlighting our student growth, Rocky. And so 2 years ago, we were here for our Celebrating Success, and we talked about how this new curriculum, Wit and Wisdom, was making a difference for our 6th and 7th graders. And we continue to see this. But tonight, I wanted to share with you what's happening in 8th grade. So this is the 2nd year with 8th grade. And the module that they're reading right now is All Quiet on the Western Front. I've heard teachers say, I read that in college. So that's what our students are reading right now. They're learning about the psychological and social effects of World War I. They're examining how that Paul, the main character's evolving attitude toward his enemy, reflects a shared humanity transformed by combat. They're learning about trench warfare. Students learn that in some locations, a trench might be only 3 yards away from their enemy. That wasn't always the case, but that sometimes happened. And the picture up there, Mrs. O'Toole, our 8th grade teacher, has the masking tape. And so she has students physically go on each side of that trench and talk about how close they were to an enemy. They talk about how they probably heard them talking. They probably heard them coughing. They probably heard or probably smelled the smoke from the cigarettes, right? That's how close the enemies was during World War I. They also explore the often overlooked experience of women and civilians, specifically investigating how the conditions of shell shock and trauma were historically classified. This deep immersion in historical context pushes students beyond that basic summary, challenging them to build that background knowledge, which is what this curriculum does, to write with clarity and purpose on the complexities of human condition. So quite a heavy lift for our 8th graders, but the kids really do enjoy the book. So go ahead, Mr. Neal. So we also know while our core curriculum, Wit and Wisdom, provides students with that deep engagement with reading and writing, language study, we recognize that some students require additional targeted support to master those foundational skills. And to bridge this gap, we continue to use the UFly Foundation. We started this 2 years ago. We talked about this with you 2 years ago. We continue to use this strategic intervention to provide that explicit, consistent instruction necessary for literacy success. And so this is that same that what the elementary will be moving to. We've been using it for 2 years, and we're very happy with this Tier 2 intervention for our students.
Something new to us this year is our RTI time. So last year, about this time, we had a pilot period where we introduced it, and we knew that Red River had used it, and we brought them in, Mr. Hepperly and some others, to kind of come in and guide us through getting that started. So currently, twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, all of our students have a 25-minute period that teachers as a team place students into an RTI session with a particular teacher in order to give them what they need, on a little bit deeper level. So if a student's really struggling with a particular concept in math, they can place them with a math teacher to go a little bit deeper, or to review, or to retake a test, or to go over some things that they need a little more support on. And so we're still kind of working through on how to collect data to see if that's working for us. I think there's some things we can tweak at our building with how students get placed and where they get placed and things like that. But I would say overall this year it's been a good experience for our students, and just to give them that extra 50 minutes a week on something a little deeper that they need academically.
And it's all hands on deck. Even Mr. Lowell has a group this cycle around.
I have started a group here. Mr. Officer Boley and I have taken a group of a few 6th graders and trying to help guide them a little bit and mentor them and help them make better decisions. And it's one of the highlights of my week. I love doing it, and just to have a small group of kids and in my office. And so, yeah, it's fun.
So the couple of last things I want to highlight, you've heard a lot about the different things we're doing. Anywhere from the PD to the UFly to RTI, just the list goes on and on. It's about the people that we have doing it, and what these guys do to help guide and support teachers is just unbelievable. So I want to thank all of these guys for what they do. Looking at that data, that's just a direct reflection of everything that we just shared. So again, we want to end with every learner, every day. That's kind of an attitude that we have every single day, and it's important to us. And again, Nancy Duteau, I need to give a shout out to her. Keep in contact with her. And just so everyone knows, once you're in the Spartan family, you're always a Spartan. So thank you guys for your time. And if you guys have any comments or questions, I'll let Mr. Lowe answer.
Questions for the group from board members? Bill?
My question is just basically on the mental health. You're using CVIC and some of those Lake Agassiz associates. Have they talked to you any about budget cuts that they're receiving from the national? Would that ever trickle down to affect schools?
No. A lot of the budget is based on Medicaid and also with private insurance. So that's what a lot of our students pay for. There are some.
Yeah, I can elaborate on that as well, Mr. Palmasino. So the services that were provided up there that are pay-for services, in addition to what Steph mentioned, Dr. Amy Gaynor has secured some behavioral health grants that help us augment those services and pay for them through that grant funding. The future of that, I guess, will be determined, but so far we haven't heard any reductions in that area of which I'm aware. From the CVIC standpoint, I don't see those services changing. I serve on that board. I know that there's some budget challenges there as well, but the education piece is one of their core pillars. And for them to be able to be in and provide some preventative curricula to our kids at the Tier 1 level is part of the roadmap to help end domestic violence. And then the intervention services on the back end is just one of their core commitments. So I would be surprised if there was a major decrease in that category.
Thank you. Other questions from board members or comments? Amber?
Hello. I was curious about if you have reading and or math interventionists.
Every day, I would say within Tier 1 and Tier 2. We do have a special topics teacher that does some math, specifically math interventions. That would be the one classified as an interventionist.
Okay, but no one specifically designated as like the South math interventionist or the South reading interventionist, like traditionally like some of the other schools have?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Again, we have one special topics teacher that takes on a couple classes
Sure.
to help out with that, but he does some other special topics classes as well.
Okay. And then the first example of the student data, there was, I think it was, she was in a co-taught classroom. What does that mean? Or co-taught ELA?
Could you step to the microphone, please, just so we capture this?
That means that it's supported by another adult, typically a special education teacher.
Sure.
So there's just another set of adult hands.
Okay, cool. And then I always ask this question, Sally alluded to it a little bit, but if we had all the money in the world, if South's list was, here's our top priority, what would you hope to initiate or program that you would want? Additional staffing? Tell us what you're...
Yeah, to me, and I kind of talked about it a little earlier, it's about people. So the programs are nice, but just for an example, if somebody said, here's a boatload of money, I would like to really dig into the mental health, the SEL, the behavior, those aspects of it, because I think that blends right in with the academic piece. So for example, what Sally's position, and in particular what Sally has done the past 3-4 years in this role, is highly impactful for students, staff, families, all across the board. So anytime you can get more money for kids for that, that would be on the top of my list. SEL, mental health, because I think that goes right with the academics, that they need that first.
Dr. Glatch, did you have something?
Yeah, I just want to make a couple additional compliments, I think, to this team to kind of give testimony to their work. So just a couple of years ago, South was on what's called targeted school improvement, and these aligned, streamlined, systemic efforts have allowed them to move out of that status. That's really a huge point of celebration that Mr. Neal forgot to illustrate, but it is, and he was tenacious about that, and so was the team at their building level. The other thing is that I really truly believe, I've talked to Mr. Neal about this and to their other levels as well, is that I believe South has built what I believe is really a model MTSS intervention system. So you've heard that multi-tiered support systems before. They use the individuals here, they identify kids with academic or behavioral skill gaps, and they put together strategic plans that the teams implement. So kids go on 6 to 8 week trial periods where teachers support them in explicit strategies. And I am curious to look at some point about, and I know that you have collected some of that data, the number of students that have then stopped the MTSS process, which means they're then not referred to special education to be looked at for skill deficits, is phenomenal. It's a model that interrupts those cycles because it's really targeted. And they have built that model program, and I'm really proud of them for that work.
Thank you.
Can I just add to that? I think a really important piece to why that's so successful is Ms. Akerlund and our behavior intervention team. Because before, my first 3 years, we didn't have that, and it was tough. It was really hard. So she organizes that with teams and goes and meets with them and comes up with plans and things like that. So her slides were pretty powerful, and I think showed, why her position in that program is important, and that's just adding on to that point.
Thank you. Other questions or comments from board members? All right. Thank you all for your time tonight. Appreciate it very much. And thank you for coming to celebrate your success with us and all your efforts. Moving on, item 4 on our agenda is our public comment period. At this time, I do not have any public comment cards. So is there anyone in the audience here for public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 5, Superintendent's recommendations for discussion. 5A is an update from the Grand Forks Foundation for Education. I will turn this over to Dr. Brenner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Amelia Hodgson, who is the Executive Director for the Grand Forks Foundation for Education, is here tonight, and along with her, sitting in the back of the room, would be Marilyn Ripplinger and Sandy Kovar, who I think are probably going to do a little tag teaming with Amelia. You can see the rest of my memo there, and we're just grateful that the foundation not only is located right here at MSCC, but strategically they are very supportive of all the initiatives that we have going in our strategic plan, and South Middle School alluded to that earlier. I believe Carla Hoven talked about some of the stations that they had were a direct result and impact for the Grand Forks Foundation for Education. So Amelia, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the invitation. Good evening. I am so grateful for the opportunity to be here tonight and I appreciate your time and the work you do to lead and support the Grand Forks Public Schools. It's a privilege to share an update on the work of the foundation, and we see ourselves as a proud partner of the Grand Forks Public Schools, working alongside you to expand opportunities, support students, staff, and families in meaningful ways. I hope this becomes an annual opportunity for us to connect, for the foundation to share our impact, and continuing strengthening the partnership between the foundation and the school district. Tonight, I'm excited to give you a snapshot of the impact we're making together and to highlight a few ways we're supporting students and our schools across the district. These primarily fall into 4 categories: grants, scholarships, programs, and alumni relations. I'm going to start with grants. Carla left before I could return the shout out to her, but I will call Carla a super grant writer. Not only does Carla go above and beyond for the students at South Middle School, she goes above and beyond for her colleagues. She mentors them at the building level. Hey, have you heard about the foundation? There's a mini grant opportunity I think that would be helpful for this project you're working on. And she assists them through the whole process. So shout out to Carla. I think she snuck out, but we appreciate her highlighting a few of the projects that they used on their Family Maker Night. In 2025, we awarded over $80,000 across the district at the classroom and the building level through our mini and impact grants. And we are on track to do the same by the end of this school year. I'm sorry, I'm turning 50. I got the readers now. This is a whole thing, so I'm new to presenting with the readers. We also support educators with professional development opportunities through our ECHO and Ben Bjertness Staff Development Grant. A couple of highlights from this year include literacy interventions at Discovery, ukuleles at Twining, jazz band stands for South Middle School, iPads for math classrooms at Schrader, scientific calculators for Central, and microscopes for Red River. Also includes a $10,000 investment towards a new wrestling mat at Central High School that will be used by both the boys and the girls' Knight Rider wrestling teams, as well as community youth wrestlers. We funded 27 mini grants, 2 impact grants, and 3 staff development grants this school year. Second way we impact the district is through our scholarship program. We classify our scholarships into 2 categories. Our secondary scholarships most of you are probably familiar with, are awarded to graduating seniors at Red River, Central, and Community High School. In 2025, those awards totaled over $60,000, and we're on track to award a similar amount this spring. Side note, if you have not attended one of the awards night at either of these schools, all three, I guess communities at graduation, I encourage you to do so. It's a wonderful evening supporting student success. Then we have our many scholarships for our students in need. Thanks to amazing donors who have stepped up time and time again to support these at-risk students and their families in a variety of ways. From school meals and transportation to athletic gear, winter clothing, household essential items, and counseling sessions. These scholarships totaled nearly $30,000 last year, and we are already over that amount 3/4 of the way into this fiscal year, with 235 requests to date. We also stock in 2 Giving Tree Pantry locations, we call. One is here at the Mark Sanford Education Center, and the other one is on the north end at a storage space that's donated to us, so social workers have quick and easy access for items like household essentials, toilet paper, paper towels. We go through a lot of laundry detergent, rolls of quarters. We also store snacks, school supplies, and other essential items that are quick and easy for our social workers to procure for their families and students who need it the most. Third, programs. We help support a number of programs through the district. The biggest of which lately has had a lot of attention is the Career Impact Academy. We were proud to act as fiscal agent for the building of the Career Impact Academy from the very early stages. We help them collect donations, support donor relations, to the new market tax credit, which secured some extra funding to get that project closer to the finish line. It was so exciting to see that open, and we're proud to be a partner in that. Our Little Red Reading Bus is about to embark on its 10th summer of getting books into the hands of kids across Grand Forks. It's been a terribly rewarding project and program to be a part of. We have school teachers who work for us in the summer as our librarians, and we're just excited to have another summer supported by a grant from the Myra Foundation. We also continue to support summer performing arts, all-city orchestra and band events, Vex Robotics, the Central Red River Coaches Golf Scramble, and the Sources of Strength program, among others. We help them accept private donations and sponsorships from the community. We manage those funds, tend to donor relations, and then work with the business office here at the school district to pay those expenses. Last year, these efforts, not including the Career Impact Academy, reached $100,000 in impact across the district. I mentioned just now the Sources of Strength program. It's a program that has been around the fund has been at the foundation for many years now, primarily supported through the TIERS program. I've been inviting them here tonight to join me to share a little bit about their impact and the Sources of Strength program here in the district. So Sandy Kovar and Marilyn Riplinger, who is not a stranger to this group. So thank you, ladies.
Awesome, thank you. As she said, I'm Marilyn Riplinger, a former Grand Forks Public School counselor, now retired, and co-founder of TIERS, a suicide prevention nonprofit organization in Grand Forks for the past 22 years. With me is Sandy Kovar, the other co-founder of TIERS, as well as some of our board members, Lexi Walker and Randy Shinborn. I'm grateful to say that the work that I've been part of in both of the above-mentioned roles has worked beautifully together. Suicide prevention not only being important in my work as a school counselor, but also became my passion after experiencing the loss of a few former students to suicide. The TIERS mission is to create hope and build strength. Our vision is to end suicide in our community. Our focus is using an upstream approach to make this happen. Tonight, we're here to highlight 3 ways in which TIERS is currently partnering with the Grand Forks Public Schools. First, the past several years, TIERS provides $1,000 annually to Community High School to provide gas and maintenance on the Charger mobile, which removes a barrier for some students in getting to and from school, making success a bit more accessible and possible. Second, Tiers recently offered the Grand Forks Public School, and they accepted, to bring Dr. Chan Hellman, author of an amazing book that should be on your reading list if you haven't read it yet, called Hope Rising. In Grand Forks, we are having him come in January of 2027, and all Grand Forks Public School staff will hear from him, learn from him, and Tiers will pay the bill. So we're super excited about this opportunity, and we're also offering it to other organizations in our community because we believe that much, that hope is measurable and hope is something we can build in each other that will make our community better. And hopefully we will have less people in the end get to that point of perhaps contemplating, thinking about, or even completing suicide. So true suicide prevention. Lastly, we would like to present a check to the foundation to be used to continue supporting Sources of Strength program in the Grand Forks Public Schools. We believe this upstream prevention program involving identifying and growing our strengths prior to a crisis can greatly increase the ability of people to successfully navigate tough situations. It is our intent that through supporting upstream prevention efforts of creating hope and building strength, that we will have less people, as I mentioned previously, get to that point of crisis. So at this time, we would like to present a check to the Grand Forks Public Schools to the foundation in the amount of $10,000, which will definitely be used for the Sources of Strength activities.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Absolutely. Let's go for it, Thank you so much for allowing us to present to you this evening. We look forward to a continued partnership in the future.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Yeah.
That was wonderful, and thank you to Tiers for their continued support for our Sources of Strength program. Impacts many buildings across the district and countless students. Oh, unless you want to answer all my text messages. Okay. Finally, alumni services, the last branch of our tree. We maintain a database of every graduate from Grand Forks Public Schools. We collaborate with the Grand Forks Visitors and Convention Bureau to publish a reunion planning guide for local lodging, dining, and recreation options for reunion attendees. We facilitate the Teachers Hall of Fame program every other year. This next induction will take place in October of 2026. Nominations are continuously ongoing. We encourage you, if you know of an educator who's been retired at least 1 year that would qualify to be acknowledged as an outstanding educator, and to make that nomination to the foundation. We're looking forward to this October's event. And we publish a quarterly newsletter, the Red Cent Community. That's full of stories on GFPS alumni, articles from guest writers, along with alumni updates, yearbook memories, and final farewells. In closing, I want to thank you again for the time this evening and for your continued leadership and commitment to our students and schools. We are grateful for the opportunity to partner with Grand Forks Public Schools, and we remain committed to supporting the district in meaningful, responsive, and impactful ways. I would also like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our donors. Their generosity makes this work possible, and without their support, none of what I share tonight would be possible. We look forward to continuing this work together and building the strong foundation we've established. I want to thank you again for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions from board members? I see none. All right.
Okay.
Dr. Renner?
Amelia wouldn't say this, but she's also part of the fund committee here at MSEC.
Fun facilitator is the
fun
official word.
facilitator.
Yeah.
She helps organize our holiday luncheon and our end-of-the-year cookout. So she does all of the planning along with her committee and just makes it for a lot of fun for all the people in the building here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, item 6 is superintendent's recommendations for action. 6A is our consent agenda. I would seek a motion. Motion for approval from Bill. Bill with the motion for approval. Is there a second? Jay? We'll take a roll call vote.
Lund is absent. Palmasino? Flynn? Berger is absent. Clevin? Manley? Larson? Hodak? Anderson? 7 yes, 0 no, 2 absent.
Motion carries. Item 6B is the appointment of Associate Principal at J. Nelson Kelly Elementary School, Mr. Bakke.
Yes, Chairman Anderson, members of the board, I'm pleased to recommend Mr. Brian Dischler, actually, I think is how you pronounce it, as the new Associate Principal at Kelly Elementary School. As you'll see in the memo, the interview team was led by Mrs. Kelly Tannehill, Principal at Kelly Elementary School. It included 9 staff members, which was a wide range of general education, special education, and music educators. It also included counselor, literacy specialist, administrative assistant, and instructional coach. I also served on that team as well as an elementary building associate principal and a parent representative from Kelly Elementary. After going through the interview process, there were 16 total applicants, 6 of which were interviewed. Mr. Deichler rose to the top for a number of reasons. The first I will say is his 10 years of educational experience in a wide range of experiences. Currently serving as a behavior interventionist, but also previously served in special education, in the elementary teaching experience of 5 years, leadership, serving as an athletic director for 5 years, and also served as a classified staff member as a paraprofessional for 3 years. So these wide range of experiences highlighted to us as the interview team the ability to connect with staff, students, and families in multiple ways. The interview team spoke highly of his strong background in many areas, his student-centered approach, his strong communication skills in which he demonstrated during the interview process, his connectability, I don't know if that's even a word, but I made it up, so it is now, and collaborative mindset. Overall, the message was from the interview team that he was the right fit for Kelly School. And so with that, the administrative recommendation is to appoint Mr. Brian Dischler as the new Associate Principal of Kelly Elementary School for the 26-27 school year, with the salary and the school factor listed there. I would stand for any questions you may have.
Questions for Mr. Bakke? All right, seeing none, as we heard, the administrative recommendation is to appoint Mr. Brian D. as the Associate Principal of Kelly Elementary School for the 26-27 school year at a salary of $94,752 with a school factor of 1,250. I would seek a motion. Jeff, motion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jay? With the second, we'll take a roll call vote.
Hodak?
Yes.
Clevin?
Yes.
Manley?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Flynn? Lund is absent. Berger is absent. Palmasino? Anderson? 7 yes, 0 no, 2
Motion
absent.
carries. Motion carries. Item 6C is our summer school program. I'm going to pass this to Dr. Glatch.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. So as you can see in the memo, we have a slew of exciting speakers tonight to present to you their proposals for the summer school programming. We're going to start with Intro to K and Elementary, which I believe is being covered by Mr. Bakke to my right, followed by our high school programming, Mr. Hepperly, middle school, including Valley Summer Rise program. You've heard about that in the past, which is a different approach to their literacy goals, by Ms. Osgarden, followed by driver's ed, Mr. Bohan, and finally wrapping it up once again, we have Allison Peterson here representing SPA. So I will invite Mr. Bakke to kick us off.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Glatch, Chairman Anderson, members of the board. Again, another opportunity here for me to speak on our summer programming. Dr. Larson could not be here today. She apologizes for not being able to make it. She's actually sitting at a school board meeting across the river, and so she's not able to be here today. But I get to cover those areas, and so the first area I'll cover is the 2026 Intro to K program. As many of you know, Intro to K program runs in late July to early August. It'll operate Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Really the goals of Intro to K are to focus on reading, math, and writing, but also it emphasizes the ability for our incoming K students to really become acquainted with the building, understand the social and school development, including sharing, taking turns, learning their lunch code, which is a big deal at the elementary level, similar to lockers at the middle school level. So we all have our areas that we got to work on as we move into the certain levels. And so, following directions, lunchroom procedures, bathroom expectations, and then just engaging with classmates. And so Intro to K program is vital to the setting up our new students for success as they start their elementary days. All elementary schools will host Intro to K, and I say that with a caveat as long as building projects are on pace, and I'm looking over at Daily in the audience when I say that. So hoping that everything is on schedule, the plan is for all elementary schools to host Intro to K. I also want to just remind the board of the funding source of which this comes from. This runs through our state, the same state summer programming as all of our elementary, high school, middle school programs do. It runs through the foundation aid formula. And as many of you know, last year was the first year that we were able to have that funding. With a lot of work with the state and other districts asking for this type of funding, we're allowed to run that through our state aid formula. And so really a great opportunity that we have that has not always been present. And so we look forward to hopefully increasing our numbers as we move forward with this program, and we've seen great success with it thus far, and we hope to continue that. I would stand for any questions on Intro to K.
Questions for Mr. Bakke on Intro to Kindergarten summer program? Jay?
Thank you. So this is an important program, but I'll ask the budget question anyways. So expenditures equal the incoming foundation aid funding. So in other words, this is net neutral as far as expense and revenue that we use to fund it?
Thank you. Great question, Mr. Clevin. Actually, it's a revenue for our district. Typically, with the amount of students that we have coming in, we receive above what our expenditures are.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, seeing none, we can move on to item 2, Mr.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Anderson, members of the board. Also my opportunity or a distinct honor to give you information on the elementary summer school program. It is scheduled from June 1 to June 19th. Running 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Reminder, there's a 60-hour requirement for any summer programming at the elementary level, and so that meets that requirement. Dr. Holly Larson is also serving as the director of the elementary summer school as well as the Intro to K. This summer structure is going to look a little bit different than what it has in the past, and it's going to intentionally streamline and student-centered around putting students within groups and grade level bands. And so you may see different in years previously where students were primarily in their grades only. You're going to see more leveling based on ability so that we can continue to meet students where they're at with their interventions and continue to try to see progress through the summer programming. And so as a result of that, you'll see balanced instruction will be supported by targeted district-aligned curricular resources and support personnel and specific needs of those individual students. So our CIT department is heavily involved in that, as well as Dr. Larson leading that charge. Hosting buildings will be this year due to some of our summer projects. As you know, not all schools will be able to host summer school. And so right now what we have for host schools are Phoenix Elementary School, which will host Phoenix, Viking, and Winship. Kelly Elementary School will host Kelly and Discovery. Lewis and Clark will host Lewis and Clark, Wilder, and Ben Franklin. Then Lake Agassiz will host Lake Agassiz and Century, and then Twining will host Twining Elementary and Middle School as part of this program. As far as the question I know I get every year as far as transportation, if there is required transportation on their enrollment form, depending on the parental responses and the amount of transportation, transportation will be considered and will be provided as needed. I would happily stand for any questions you may have.
Questions for Mr. Bakke on summer school, elementary summer school? All right.
Okay, with
Seeing
that, I
none.
will hand it over to Mr. Hepperly then.
Okay.
Sub that, you get me instead. So
never mind.
I'm going to review the high school component. You can see a comprehensive memo provided by Mr. Hepperly in your board packet. However, a few things to touch on are the dates that summer school will run at Red River High School. In past years, we've hosted that at Grand Forks Central. The last 2 years, it's been at Red River because of construction projects. In the future, we'll probably alternate campuses, just as an FYI. But Monday, June 2nd through Wednesday, July 9th is the entirety of the programming, 7:45 to 1 o'clock p.m. In that time frame, there are 2 semesters that students can enroll in. So students can either take a 0.5 credit course or a 1.0 credit course, depending on how they are driven. There's a 15-minute break in between them as well. As of 2nd of April, there were 256 students enrolled. That enrollment runs through May 22nd, so I imagine those numbers will increase as students finish out the school year here. There are courses being offered in English, ML courses, history, government, econ, PE, and health. There are also students who will earn a credit by taking a trip overseas through our German and Spanish programs. It's something that we have offered typically every other year. That is an experience that students can embark upon, and they also can enroll in NDCDE or North Dakota Center for Distance Education courses for credit underneath our guidance. There is also offered a credit recovery option. So within this, you can see all kinds of offerings that result in our multiple pathways to help students earn credits. Students who earn between a 55% and a 63.5% in a course during any semester can enroll in what we call the CROW program, the Credit Recovery Options Program. What this means in a nutshell is the teachers work with the administrators to look at the next couple of unit standards, essential standards that students have not yet proven efficiency around. They set them up in the online Edgenuity platform, and students complete those units to prove enough competency to receive a credit in that class, a passing credit in that class. We've been able to recover an awful lot of credits that way in past years, which is good for keeping kids on track for graduation. And finally, something to note is that Mr. Hepperly took over this programming this year. He's working with his secretary, Hannah Rose Rodriguez, to really look at refining some systems. We've had a number of individuals in the past involved in enrollments and creating programming and things of that nature. With the rollover to Infinite Campus and looking forward to how we can use technology to our advantage in the future to enroll kids more efficiently in summer school, they're creating some structures around that. So I'm really excited to see the final products around that component of the high school summer school programming. I will do my best to entertain questions at this time.
Questions for Dr. Glatch on high school summer school?
Yes, Mr. Clevin, it is also revenue generating. I'll invite Ms. Osgard into the microphone right now to cover.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, was there a question? Amber?
Is there breakfast offered at the high school level?
We have not offered breakfast at the high school level.
Is there a reason for that?
Breakfast is typically, Matt wants to answer this, I guess.
I was going to say typically in order to offer the breakfast and the lunch, the schools have to qualify, and so dependent upon whether those high schools qualify or not is relatively, it doesn't always happen, I'll put it that way. And so whether they're able to offer that free breakfast and free lunch like the summer programming usually does, a specific school needs to qualify, and typically our schools don't always qualify for that.
When you say, because I'm just comparing it to like the the middle school, when you say qualify for what? Like, what does that mean?
For the free lunch and breakfast program that's offered through the summer programming lunch offering that they're able to provide.
So is that specific to the population of students in that given year?
Correct. Correct, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're not offering it because it could be a cost or an expense?
No, you cannot provide it as an open site if you don't qualify for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know those things, so,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Other questions? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Ostgaard?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to the school board. My name is Teresa Oskarn. I'm the middle school summer school coordinator for this year. I'll be presenting information in regards to South Schrader Valley Middle School. Twining Middle School was absorbed by elementary, which Mr. Bakke had already said, because of historical low numbers, just because of ease of, the location of Twining in their first base, and just the low numbers. It's easier to just incorporate them with elementary middle school or elementary summer school program. All South and Schrader students will be located at Schrader this summer due to construction in the officeway and entryway at South Middle School. Their summer school this year will run from June 1st to June 26th with Wit and Wisdom ELA and their math. It runs from 8 until noon daily. This is a 4-week duration that we did last year. 2 years ago when I started this, we did a 3-year rotation or a 3-week rotation. Last year we added a 4th week. The teachers and students really liked the extended time. We also saw growth within our data as well. This also is tightly compared to what Valley does with their Summer Rise program. So they actually do the same 4 weeks with 3 additional days. So we're doing a comparison of the two. Valley Middle School will continue doing the Rise program that they've been participating in for the last 3 years. This session is from June 1st to July 1st, and will focus on ELA and math curriculum using the Lavinia curriculum that is provided through the Summer Rise program. The multilingual program will be located at Valley Middle School this year, just because we didn't think we should have it at Schrader, because they don't currently have an ML program, and moving the kids from South to Schrader and vice versa. We're just going to put them all into Valley Middle School for the summer. This decision came about working with our ML coordinator, Ivona Tvorovich, because how can we help support the students? Also think about busing possibly. We're kind of working on that situation as well, just because we want to make sure that kids are able to get there and participate within the program. Valley Middle School does qualify for breakfast and lunch, which is what you asked before. So they do start breakfast at 7:30 every morning. Classes start around 8:05, and then they have class from 8:05 till noon, and then they do offer lunch as well. There is no current after-school program for middle school sites. So if you're thinking about childcare after school, we do not offer that at the middle schools. This year, we did open up registration beginning in February. Messages were sent out to the home schools to include with their newsletters, Seesaw, those sort of things. And put on the website. Melissa Bakke did district messaging for us. I created little QR slips for kids to get during parent-teacher conferences in February to kind of gain some traction. As of April 6th, when I had to submit the memo, we had about 73 South and Schrader students registered and about 65 Valley students registered. This is down a little bit from last year, and so I hope as the months continue on that we can kind of gain some more traction with that. Many times we hear about parents not knowing what their summer plans are, and so they have to figure out their vacations and figure out what they're doing over summertime, and that's how we kind of get the numbers back up in May. There's a number of job responsibilities I'm still working on. So South and Schrader usually do STAR testing, so I'm working with Jen Spicer. I have a call-in with her tomorrow, trying to look at what the data is, because we kind of group the kids based upon where they're scoring with their assessments. I've also started conversations last week with Brandon Vandervolt with the special education program to kind of figure out what we need for our students on our IEPs and make sure that they have the best support as possible for success. So at this time, if there's any questions, I can kind of help with that.
Questions from board members? All right, seeing none, thank you. Mr. Bohan.
I always mess this. Is it on? Thank you. Terry Bohan, Principal Community High School, Driver's Ed Director, non-technical support staff member. We look forward to serving about 300 Driver's Ed students in the summer of 2026. We have a 6-week driver's ed timing planned in 3 different sessions over 8 days. We'll start on the 1st of June and about, I think it's the 9th of July. We usually can get wrapped up by then. Anticipating 18 instructors, including one new one this year that we're happy to have with the support of the board and the district. Run our same program we've always run, have plans to secure vehicles again from Rydell and operate an important program for 14, 15, 16-year-old student learning how to drive on the streets of Grand Forks. And so as you get close to driver's ed and you're driving behind that student driver car that drives roughly 24,000 miles in the cities of Grand Forks, I ask you to cover your brake, smile, be patient, and give the kid a little time. With that, I'll take any questions you might have for driver's ed.
Questions for Mr. Bohan? All right, seeing none. Thank you. Dr. Brenner has a comment.
I don't have any questions for Mr. Bohan. I just want to share that my son was part of driver's ed last summer, and what a way to meet some other instructors across the district that he wouldn't have met before. He would come home after driving. He'd talk about Steve Paintner. He'd talk about Dave Vonish and the relationships that those instructors really formulate with kids. So thank you, Mr. Bohan, for that, and shout out to all of your teachers.
Thank you, Mr. Bohan. Ms. Peterson on summer performing arts.
Good evening, members of the board, district administration. Allison Peterson, director of the Summer Performing Arts Company. Thank you for allowing us to speak tonight about our wonderful summer programs. We're very excited. Our schedule, just going to go through some notes. The schedule for this year is similar to previous years. Nothing has changed. June, July. There's going to be a string camp in August, again for 4th and 5th graders, but more informational is going to come on that. We're still kind of working on that, and we'll get that planned soon. The front-facing part of the program, the high school program, we're excited to have a very family-friendly summer this year. We're going to be doing Seussical at Grand Forks Central and Frozen at Red River High School. So it's going to be a very fun summer for our students and for the community. The facilities we're using this year are Red River Central, Sharon Lutheran Church, Kelly, Phoenix, and just today, we've confirmed that we are able to have elementary spa sessions at Lake Agassiz. So we're going to run 2 classes during the first 2 weeks, and we're very excited for that. And I'm happy that Travis Orvelson was able to make that work for us, because it's very important to us to have a North End presence. It's been a while for the elementary program, and so we're going to be back at Lake Agassiz this summer, and we're very excited. In addition to thanking Travis, thank you. We always have to thank the principals and the custodians and of all the buildings, because we absolutely realize that this is the time that's used for construction and for maintenance and cleaning and all that stuff. And we kind of come in and take over for a little while, but we really appreciate the ability to do that. This year we anticipate, again, about 1,000 to 1,100 students. Registration started this morning at 10 o'clock. At like 10:02, we had 75 or something like that. By the end, when I left today, we were over 440. So very exciting. Several pre-K classes are already closed. Some of the elementary sessions are nearing capacity. So I bet when I get to my desk tomorrow, there'll be a few more that are closed. We plan on having about 42 on staff. That's what we have right now. We haven't hired the band or orchestra lesson instructors yet, because we don't know who that is. We're going to be opening lessons soon once we find who the instructor is going to be, locations and stuff like that. So registration for band, orchestra lessons, and the strings camp will come at a slightly later date. Giving Hearts Day, again, went very well for us. Once again, we ranked first in donor retention out of the 639 participating organizations. And so, that's a testament to our donor base. They are the best donors in the world, and I'll just say that all the time, because it's a very important program in this community, and I'm very grateful for the community support that we receive. We're going to use those funds, as we have for over the past few years that we've gotten this award. We're going to put it towards My Spa and the multilingual arts component that we send over to multilingual summer school at the high school level, just because those are some of the programs that incur the most costs. And so to make up for that, I think it's just a fitting way to use those funds. Okay, registration and ticket prices this year are slightly higher. That's in order to keep up with rising costs of everything. Ticket prices are increasing $3 across the board for each ticket level. We're still well under what other organizations in the community and the surrounding areas offer for their performances. And registration costs per program, it kind of depends on the program. We have multiple programs for the grade levels. We increased registration fees from $5 to $30 depending on the program. But even with that increase, the majority of the programs still run less than $8 an hour for a student to attend. Some of them are less than $1 per hour for a student to attend. So I think we're still a very affordable program even with the increase. So those are the notes that I have, the most notable items. I am welcome to entertain any questions.
Any questions from board members for Ms. Peterson? Dr. Brenner has a comment?
Yeah, I just want to commend Ms. Peterson for her work on the budget, her overall work on the budget for SPA. She has been able to stay within a framework, even with the increases in salaries, the hourly rate that we pay many of our people. She's able to do it. And last summer, after we met, she came in with a net revenue. It was very, very nice to see. So thank you for your work on that, Al.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So with that, I believe that is last item. District administration recommendation is for approval of the summer school programming as presented this evening. I would seek a motion.
Move to accept that recommendation.
Jay makes a motion. Is there a second? Amber seconds. We will take a roll call vote.
Flynn?
Yes.
Hodak?
Yes.
Berger is absent. Manley?
Yes.
Lunn is absent. Clevin?
Yes.
Palmasino? Larson?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, 2 absent.
Motion carries. 6D is our recommendation for board to contemplate reduction in force, non-renewal of Grace Rames. Dr. Brenner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You have a memo in front of you from me, and I'm going to go through the entire memo just so we don't have any missteps along the way. At the last meeting, the board approved, based on the needs of the school district, to eliminate .75 FTE aviation teaching position and instruct the superintendent to identify the individual for reduction in force based on the reduction in force policy. The reasons for eliminating this position are based on the needs of the school district, including enrollment concerns and lack and uncertainty of funds for next year. Today, the board should limit its discussion to the question of whether or not the reasons being given, if substantiated, are in compliance with North Dakota Century Code 15.1-15-052 and the RIF policy. Questions as to the substance of the stated reasons should be reserved for the actual hearing. This is not the time for the comments by the individual employee. That will be set at the actual hearing, which is on April 20th at 6 p.m., and I'll reiterate that on the next page. North Dakota Century Code 15.1-15-05 provides in relevant part to the reasons for the contemplated non-renewal of the individual's contract must not be frivolous or arbitrary. The reasons must be sufficient to justify the contemplated non-renewal and must originate from the needs of the district in justifying the reduction in the staff. So the reduction in force policy states, and I'm going to recite this and go through this, the board shall have the sole right to determine the necessity for and scope of a reduction in force for reasons including but not limited to lack of funds, uncertainty of funds, declining enrollment, or other reasons of necessity that justify a reduction in the staff within the board's discretion. Teaching staff on leave for any purpose remain subject to the district's reduction in force policy. Criteria, the superintendent or administrative designee shall recommend teacher or teachers for reduction in force in accordance with the following criteria. Attrition, including the retirement and resignations. When attrition is not sufficient to alleviate the necessity for reduction in force, the board shall retain teachers with the greatest adaptability to meet present and future district staffing and educational needs, both curricular and extracurricular. Number 3, when teachers within the same area of licensure are deemed to be of equal adaptability, the board shall retain the teacher with superior academic and professional preparation beyond minimum licensure requirements in their teaching field. And number 4, When teachers are deemed to be of equal adaptability and have equal academic and professional preparation within their teaching fields, the board shall retain the teacher who has taught in the district for the greater period of time. If a reduction in force is necessary, only teachers directly impacted, e.g. those employed under a Title I program, will be considered for reduction in force based on the criteria for reduction in force above. The district is required to maintain written documentation of a reduction in force analysis. Notices in hearing. If a decision is made to reduce the teaching staff, any teacher affected thereby shall be given written notice and hearing as may be required by law. Under the non-discriminatory clause, a reduction in force shall only be initiated in the non-discriminatory manner in accordance with the state and federal law. The district may not use reduction in force as a substitute for disciplinary measures. Reemployment right. Any teacher who is non-renewed under the provisions of this policy may request and shall be given consideration for teaching vacancies for which said teacher is the most qualified and which occur within 12 months after receipt of written notice of the non-renewal decision. It shall be the sole responsibility of said teacher to provide the district with a current address. Any teacher who is offered reemployment hereunder and fails to accept the same within 15 days after it's offered shall be deemed to have rejected said offer and shall forfeit all future reemployment rights if an offer of equal employment is rejected. Probably the most important page. The only discussion then should be limited to whether the contemplated non-renewal originates from the needs of the school district in justifying a reduction in force and whether the individual I name is currently in that position. Questions as to substance of the reasons should be reserved for the hearing. I have reviewed the RIF policy and exhibit, and I'm now providing my recommendation based on the policy and exhibit. I have one individual to recommend for reduction in force based on the policy. I am recommending to the board contemplate the reduction in force non-renewal of teacher Grace Rames for the .75 FTE aviation teaching position. That's actually her full-time status in the district, .75. If the board accepts the recommendation, I have provided a suggested motion that would support the recommendation. The motion needs to include the place, date, and time for the hearing and should be made verbatim. These hearings normally occur outside of school hours, again, April 20th at 6 p.m., and can go as long as needed, sometimes late into the night. And I will turn it back to the chair of the meeting for the suggested motion.
So the suggested motion based on the recommendation is there. Are there, prior to that, are there questions for this item for Dr. Brenner? Okay, hearing none, we do have a suggested motion in front of us. If the board accepts the recommendation, I would seek a motion.
I would move that a special school board meeting to be held at the Mark Sanford Education Center on Monday, April 20th, beginning at 6 p.m., at which time the board will discuss and act upon the contemplated non-renewal of the current contract of Grace Rames for the following reasons: the needs of the Grand Forks Public School District, including enrollment concerns and lack and uncertainty of funds for next year. I also move that the superintendent provide timely notice to the teacher prior to the hearing. The notice must contain the date, time, and place of the hearing and the detailed reasons for contemplated non-renewal.
Mr. Larson has made the motion. Is there a second? Bill has seconded the motion. We'll take a roll call vote.
Palmasino? Yes. Lund is absent. Larson?
Yes.
Flynn? Yes. Berger is absent. Hodak?
Yes.
Manley?
Yes.
Clevin?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, 2 absent.
Motion passes. Moving on, we will go to item 6E, our Policy Review Committee report. Dr. Hodak.
I see my partners in crime are both absent tonight. Basically, you have it in your packet from our minutes that we held on March 12th. And basically what we are looking at is the first one that we talked about was the DKA-E, reduction in force rubric, which we've already pretty well discussed amongst amongst the board as a whole. And there's no need for any motion or anything with that one, if I'm correct. And then, I don't know if there's any need for any further comments or discussion. Hearing none, then, we also discussed the GDB graduation exercises. And basically, there was a discussion about just simply making sure that it's in the same statement is in two places, so that when students or parents are reading one and they don't happen to go to the other one, that this is the statement that that we need to make sure they are aware of by both policies. And just to make sure that I state the statement, that all students who participate in a high school commencement ceremony are expected to dress in an appropriate manner. The cap, gown, tassel, and shoes are all required. No other personnel additions shall be allowed other than school-issued stoles of honor without prior permission from the administration. And we did seek the high school principals, and I believe Terry Bohan's comments as well and such, and they continue to support exactly what we're looking for. So basically, we're looking for us to place that statement to continue to keep it in the FFH, but to also add it to the GDB graduation exercise policy.
Any questions for Dr. Hodak? Jay?
In the past, wasn't there some discussion about ceremonial, I'll call it attire, whatever phrasing we want to use, and was that discussed in this policy?
We discussed the clothing aspect, but we all came up with the same. We agree that having what the school has already decided with the stoles, that's where we would leave it at, because we are just too concerned about setting precedents. Even though we honor and recognize all of that, the stole is the way to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, comments? If none, this is a first reading, and we would seek a motion for approval of the first reading of GDB at this time.
I'd make such a motion to
Jay has
accept the first
moved.
reading as presented.
Okay.
I
Jay has
second.
made the motion. Sherry has seconded. We will take a roll call vote.
Berger is absent. Flynn? Clevin? Hodak?
Yes.
Palmasino? Larson? Lund is absent. Manley? Anderson?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, 2 absent.
Motion passes. Item 6F is recommendation to approve findings of fact, conclusions of law, and order for discharge to be served on Anna Marie Fernandez and board action. Dr. Brenner.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. The memo you have in front of you I will go over. Enclosed for your review is the document titled Findings of Fact, Conclusions of Law, Order for Discharge regarding Miss Anna Marie Fernandez. This document reflects the culmination of the formal hearing process conducted in accordance with the North Dakota Century Code and applicable district policies. Following the administrative hearing held on March 18th and 19, 2026, and upon consideration of the evidence presented, testimony provided, and the deliberations of the school board, the administrative law judge, and the board have established findings supporting discharge for cause. These findings include insubordination, conduct unbecoming the position of a teacher, and failure to perform contracted duties without justification. The recommendation for board action, I will turn back to the chair.
Are there questions on this item for Dr. Brenner? Jay?
Who's the author of this? And it doesn't have to be individually, but is it Grand Forks Public Schools, or is this a legal counsel document? What's the origin of it, I guess?
The memo would be
Yes.
from me
Yep.
with legal input, and then the culminating document comes from legal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other items for Dr. Brenner? Okay. Seeing none, the recommendation for board action and the administrative recommendation is that the school board approve the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and order for discharge to be served on Anna Marie Fernandez as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Jay with a motion. Is there a second? Jeff? We'll take a roll call vote.
Clevin.
Yes.
Larson. Palmesino. Lund is absent. Manley. Flynn. Hodak. Berger is absent. Anderson. 7 yes, 0 no, 2 absent.
Motion passes. Item 6G is our Finance Committee report. I will turn this over to Mr. Palmesino.
Okay, I'll start with Brandon's usual comment. This money is coming from the bond that we received on the vote of the people for safety and security. The first one is for Discovery Elementary. The bids for Discovery came in at $192,185, which was roughly $18,333 under the estimate. So the recommendation of the committee is to move that price, $192,185, for a total project of $228,700. And the main purpose for this is to add doors to secure the front entrance, but also add some doors up by the lunchroom as well as the library, so they can be shut down as the rest of the school are. So I would make that motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Are there questions or comments on this item? Okay. We'll take a roll call vote.
Larson. Manley. Lund is absent. Palmesino.
Yes.
Hodak. Berger is absent. Clevin. Flynn. Anderson. 7 yes, 0 no, 2 absent.
Motion passes. Back to Mr. Palmesino.
Yes, the second one was South Middle School, and most of the work will be done towards the front entrance to South to secure that, as we've done in other schools. The bid total of that one would come in at $190,005, which was roughly $27,810 under estimate. So I would ask for the recommendation of the board to approve the guaranteed maximum price of $190,005 for a total project of $226,106.
Motion by Joel. Is there a second? Jay with second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Berger is absent. Flynn. Hodak. Clevin. Larson. Lund is absent. Manley. Palmesino.
Yes.
Anderson. 7 yes, 0 no, 2 absent.
Motion passes. Anything further?
The only thing left is for us to do is Phoenix Elementary, which will be done in the summer of 2027. And the main reason we're waiting on that is the city's doing a study, and they're getting a grant for the change of that intersection out there. So we want to make sure our main entrance is in the right location. And then also during that time would be the Ed Center and Community High.
Thank you.
Mr. Palmesino, if I may, we have from this $18 million original bond amount, do I see that we have a little over $1 million remaining that could be applied to those 3 projects?
Well, the estimate right now is when all those projects are finished, we would spend $16,928,000. But they said the numbers for Community High and the Ed Center are just, they feel are higher than what will be needed, but they wanted to make sure they covered it, so.
Okay, thank you.
Other items for the Finance Committee, or Mr. Palmesino? Okay, thank you. Moving on, item 7, under other. 7A is our announcements. Are there any announcements tonight? Mr. Clevin.
I got one, and it's more of a comment and accolades. Rather than talk about the summer school and the whole program as we were talking about that, just wanted to offer a summary observation that was a remarkably concise and well-organized presentation for a very, very important series of programs that Grand Forks Public Schools offers. And so thanks to everybody who was involved in putting that information in those programs together.
Thank you. Other announcements this evening? Okay, seeing none. 7B is board requests for future consideration. Are there any requests? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to 7C, school board meeting norms. Mr. Manley, how did we do?
We did very well. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, item 8 is adjournment. We are adjourned. Thank you.